Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mariane Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mariane Pinkston.
Hello, everybody out there. It is nice to see you today, and welcome into another showing of The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I am Dr. Pinkston, Dr. Mariane Pinkston here in San Antonio. And as usual, every third Thursday of the week, we get to bring in Mr. Ray Solano, who is a very dear and good friend and mentor to me. And so welcome in, Ray. It's good to see you again.
Well, good morning, and good to see you again.
So you are up in Cedar Park, Texas, and you own PD Labs, which is a compounding pharmacy, which you've got your hands in so many different things and do such wonderful work. And so I know today we wanted to talk a little bit about one of your products that is for sleep, but I think we're going to head off with melatonin and discuss that a little bit, because I really don't think people understand melatonin as they just go to the store and they pull melatonin off the shelf because they're not sleeping, hoping it'll help them sleep, but they don't realize there are enormous benefits to it.
Well, exactly right. You know, we're a specialty pharmacy. We're nationally licensed, and we work with practitioners like yourself nationwide, and we come up with the most innovative applications either for traditional medication, old pharmaceuticals, and also things that are supplements that may be misunderstood. And one of the things that caught our eye this month is melatonin. Yes. And we always think melatonin as a sleep hormone. That's all we know, is you take it so you can go to sleep. Exactly. But when you look at it a little bit further, it is a body's master antioxidant hormone. And what does that mean? So it's a scavenger for all different types of toxins that able to neutralize it. But it also is so important for our immune system. And this is what today immune health should be our number one goal in all types of natural immune support. And so this is one of the things we want to just go through today, is all the tremendous benefits of melatonin, and also best with some of the misunderstood is how to raise your melatonin levels.
Right, exactly. And so one of the things that I know I see affects melatonin the most is our adrenal gland, or cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And so when people are needing to sleep and having difficulty either going to sleep or staying asleep, waking up in the middle of the night, a lot of times they do go and reach for melatonin, but cortisol, your stress hormone, tends to interfere with that process in your body of allowing melatonin to get you into a good deep sleep. And I call it melatonin resistance. I haven't heard anybody, say that out of a textbook or anything, but it just seems like to me the body develops a melatonin resistance based on how much stress, long chronic stress mostly, that keeps people from sleeping.
Well, it makes absolute sense. If you're chasing tigers and you're afraid that you're going to be killed or slaughtered in the night, your body's not going to make melatonin so you can sleep. Right. The body has this amazing ability to fix itself. So yes, I think you're absolutely right. Your cortisol levels, when they rise, it's going to shut off your production of melatonin in the pineal gland. But one of the things that people may not understand, and realize that you can raise your melatonin levels by infrared light in the daytime. We think of the sunshine hormone as vitamin D, yes, but also you raise your your melatonin stores by also in the mitochondria by light.
Exactly.
So you get a twofer. You not only get your vitamin D levels, but you also get your melatonin levels by that exposure to lights, especially at about noon.
Right. Exactly. Height of the day. So, and you mentioned too, antioxidant wise, I know something that I have learned over the years about melatonin is that, and I think, let me back up a little bit. So I think that when people think about dosing melatonin for sleep, if they, we have this thing in America or, in the States where if a little bit works, more will work better. And When it comes to melatonin, if you correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit is the way to go to keep those lower dosages, because as you get higher and higher, I'm assuming about 10 milligrams or so or higher, that's when it becomes a vitamin and, like you say, an antioxidant and works differently in the body. But most people think, I'll take a whole lot more and I'll sleep better. And really, no, you're supposed to stay maybe at about 2 milligrams or so, from what I understand.
Well, that's exactly right. It's a twofold approach. If we were looking at it to support sleep, or make sure that your body's melatonin levels are normalized, the smaller levels are very effective. However, we also use melatonin as a very strong antioxidant. It increases our natural killer cells. As well. So this is where the immune support comes into effect. And you've seen in cancer research and breast cancer, we see high doses of melatonin in prescription strength. And I've seen doses from 10 to 50 milligrams. Right. So the research is showing now that high doses have a completely different therapeutic effect, not for sleep, right, but as for cancer therapy, to increase that natural killer cells. So it's just quite amazing. It's just a simple hormone which we just take for granted. I think it's really important to not only know where you're getting it from and make sure it has the pharmaceutical grade, which is a little bit more, we know exactly the strengths of that melatonin. It's just important to really identify the source of your melatonin.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because many, almost all of my patients, when I talk to them about getting a vitamin, will say, can I just get that at H-E-B? And nothing against H-E-B, please. It's my favorite store, of course. But, or at one of the vitamin shops or whatnot, can I just buy something over the counter like that? And I'm like, I try to explain to people the difference between pharmaceutical grade vitamins and something over the counter. Can you speak to that? Because it's very important.
Well, it's really true that there's a handful of very important, very regulated supplement companies, and then you can find, I think that Jarrow is one, and Now Brands has very strict quality control standards, but there is a certain purity levels for activity for melatonin that's, you just don't know for sure what you're going to be getting, because many times people may not go to the health food store. They'll buy it on the internet, and they'll buy it from Amazon, and you have no idea. It's a wild, wild west. You know what? Sometimes we have been doing this a long time, and I have a hard time trying to figure out which one is better than the other. So you really kind of need somebody that really can understand and chart between the differences between these. And many times we have practitioners like yourself that prescribe sustained release melatonin, so the body can absorb it a little at a time, and I think that's also very, very effective. But it also, when you combine it with these other formulas that actually slow that cortisol levels, you can get good, meaningful sleep, especially now that they turned the clocks back, because it causes so much havoc with everybody's sleep cycles. Unfortunately, we'll see more people showing up missing work today than ever, and people will definitely, there'll be events going on this week.
Yes. Oh, everybody is going to complain for at least the next 2 weeks, daylight savings time, and how it really unhinges our clock. And
it does. Your circadian rhythms are all messed up. Just 1 hour.
Just 1 hour.
So just 1 hour. So we're powering through it, right?
Yeah. It's the spring forward that gets me. The fall back, I'm good. I get an extra hour, but the spring forward, really gets us every year. So what does that do to our internal clock? Just missing an hour like that, how does that affect us?
Well, there's so many hormone levels that are tied to circadian rhythm, your blood pressure, your heart rhythm, your digestive system. So if you just think about all these connective systems that actually are dependent upon light, because this is when your body starts to actually make their adrenal hormones to turn on as soon as it's light. That's why when you go to sleep, you don't want very much light. Exactly. And it starts the body to making melatonin levels. So if your body is not having this detox pathway, which is sleep, working, unfortunately, you're going to be carrying some trash around from the day before. And unfortunately, it's like your garage. It's never, ever perfectly clean. Never. But that's why it's really important this time of year to really pay attention to health, because guess what? Immune support is more important now than ever.
I love how you put that as viewing sleep as a detox mechanism. I've known that, I understand that. I try to convey that, but I've never just said it like that's amazing. I'm gonna hang on to that one, Ray, and the garage analogy.
So everybody knows that, right?
Exactly. No, we don't. We tend to just go ahead and park and maneuver around the trash in there and just park and get it done, and that's what we do sleep-wise as well. But you mentioned light, as being important to getting the melatonin mechanism going. So I would love a show of hands out there of people who look at their phone or iPad or TV right before they go to bed. And you are wrecking that melatonin effect for the brain to get you into a good deep sleep. So many people do that, and that's a part of sleep hygiene that we need to manage a lot better.
You start reading before you go to bed. You'd be surprised how sleepy you get. I find sometimes I only get 1 or 2 pages before you fall asleep. So it's just simple reading is so powerful. It seems to make a huge difference. Allows the body to get into that regenerative mode. And we put together a neat formula called Deep Blue Sleep that works by hitting all those 3 buttons that we find: to lower the cortisol levels, raise your melatonin levels, and also be able to have some magnesium to satisfy your minerals. Yes. So you put all this together, and you know what? We found a neat formula called Deep Blue Sleep that can really make a difference in people's sleep. And guess what? You can use it for children, and you can also use it for adults as well. Very safe. Very safe, and no interactions with things. It is very, very safe, and you're doing yourself a big favor by adding that magnesium with that, because a lot of people have leg cramps or painful muscles and tension. A lot of people will grind their teeth at night, wake up with headaches the next morning. Magnesium is a beautiful additive for helping prevent all of those things, but magnesium also calms your immune system and allows your body to work in detox. It's something that people don't realize. If your magnesiums are if your doctor's checking your magnesium levels and your magnesium levels are normal on the lab, but you go to bed having leg cramps and aches or a lot of muscle tension, your body is stealing that magnesium from your muscles and your bones in order to keep those blood levels normal. So your labs will always look okay, but you could be completely magnesium deficient. And that's why. So that magnesium additive is absolutely beautiful, and I think that's would be a big one. So melatonin, magnesium, and then something for cortisol, which is very, very important. That is the trio of happiness right there. There you go. Perfect. But it's sleep patterns. We got teens that just don't want sleep as well. We're staying up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, right. So we get this sleep deprivation, and I think it's so important to really understand the quality of sleep. Start that sleep hygiene. It starts early. Right. Usually about 9 o'clock, and get into this routine. And I think it starts with young children, teaching them well to get started, and adults at the same time. Unfortunately, our society likes to go nonstop, right. But I think it's really important today to pay attention to our immune system, because guess what? We have so many viruses that are still poking their head around the corner. So, right. You know what? Use this opportunity to get better. Right. And so, I edited a book once years ago by Elizabeth Pantley called The No Cry Sleep Solution for children, for parents to get their children into a good sleep pattern. And the focus of that entire book was just a routine, to make sure kids have a routine so they have a wind down period. And I think we need to carry that over into adulthood. We don't realize that
we need to set up that routine so our body has cues that it knows when to start its good, hormone cycles of melatonin and dampening cortisol and things like that, so we can get into a good sleep. Because again, we can say it a million times over, good sleep is how your body detoxes, repairs, and gets you ready to prevent aging, but also for the next day. So what worries me, and I talk a lot with patients who do shift work. So if you do, crazy, even if you start your work, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, you work until 11, 12 at night or so, or just work all night. That is one of the most destructive things I feel that we can do to our bodies, is to get off our circadian rhythm like that with shift work. Do you see the same?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't know how people did it. I've done it once before. You can start at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, but you need that 4 hours of really good restorative deep sleep minimum to really start those detox pathways and to really allow the brain to refocus. And so it's really important to have, you realize that you got to have some uninterrupted sleep. And sometimes people say, well, I just wake up. Right. Well, it's important to stay there, keep your eyes closed, right, keep your feet elevated, and that will still keep on that regenerative process. We just don't want your adrenals to start recharging, or that battery, right?
Exactly right. And we're going to take a break here in just a second, but we'll talk about some more about some sleep and how to maximize our immune system and all of that. And I want to focus a little bit also on the antioxidant issue again, anti-cancer. With melatonin, and circle back to that a little bit about PD Labs. They are up in Cedar Park, Texas, and so when Ray and I are together every third week of the month and have a great talk about some wonderful supplements or some new issue that has hit the news and something that people can do to really change their lives and health and what you're trying to accomplish. You can find all that information if you go to pdlabsrx.com, but you can also go, for those of you who have just tuned in, just realize I'm Dr. Mariane Pinkston, and I have a family practice here in San Antonio, and I'm on San Antonio radio, but I also have a platform of podcasts and YouTube, so you can go to drpbetterlife.com, and you can find all of those platforms, a blog, and a lot of information, but you can also find information on Ray and PD Labs up in Cedar Park. So pdlabsrx.com, but you can go to drpbetterlife.com and find all that information. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about melatonin, sleep, reparative immune system, all this great stuff we're talking about this morning. Thank you.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat in our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we are suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal Shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal Shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Welcome back. Yeah, we've got Ray Solano here from PD Labs up in Cedar Park, Texas, which is near Austin and near to me here in San Antonio. So, Ray, I'm glad you joined us in. We've got just a few minutes. This is also always the shortest end of the show here. So we've got about 6-7 minutes here to talk. But I wanted to go a little bit deeper in on two things. One is that the product that you mentioned, because we're not here to sell products. That's not what Ray and I like to do, but we like to bring information to people on products that are worth the time and money and effort to get, because of how wonderful that they are. And who better than to ask their compounding pharmacy and your doctor, about something good. And you had mentioned Deep Blue Sleep, which has several different ingredients. I'll let you explain. It sounds wonderful.
Well, what we've done is really identify different choices for people with sleep. An oral form that we put together with Dr. Jim Laval is the product called Deep Blue Sleep. And Deep Blue Sleep has proven ingredients to really lower cortisol, help normalize magnesium levels, but also to enhance absorption of melatonin. So we have a highly absorbable form of melatonin. It's called Deep Blue Sleep in a capsule form. But also some people would like some drops, and we put Deep Z's together, which is a combination of a similar formula that it can be given for children as well as seniors. A couple of squirts sublingually in the mouth, and you'd be surprised the yawns will start in about 15, 20 minutes. Exactly. So what we try to do is build a suite of products that can help people with sleep, and they can also add it on top of their prescription medications.
Yes, safely.
So that's what people say, well, can I take these other medications? Well, we're taking natural products that go to natural pathways that don't interfere or block other medications, because unfortunately most people take so many medications that we're always looking for simple solutions that are many times depleting these natural nutritionals. And they many times block melatonin levels. Can you believe that? We're giving products to help people sleep, but it also blocks our melatonin production.
That is so important that you said that. So many people come and ask me for a sleep aid, and they're already taking, some over-the-counters. And I explain to people that these medications will keep you in a lighter, more hypnotic sleep stage. So you stay in stage 1 and stage 2. You don't reach that 3 and 4 or REM sleep and deep sleep that is so important for your body to restore and repair. That earlier stages don't do that for you. It's those deeper stages. But the medications don't allow you to go into the deeper stages. It tricks you. You've slept for many hours. You think you've gotten good sleep when in actuality you haven't, and you haven't done all of that repair underneath. So to take something like this product very naturally is so much more of an intelligent, view and approach to fixing actual sleep. And I think that is the beauty. People need to understand medications are not going to do that for you. Not at all.
And the one that comes to my mind is Ambien. Right. If you look at Ambien, Ambien it depletes your melatonin production. So let me get this straight. You get something that's going to be helping you as a sleep aid, but it blocks the production of melatonin, depletes the body's stores of melatonin. So it's crazy. Yes. So if people are taking Ambien, they have to take the melatonin at the same time. So it's a good start. If you're having problems with sleep, add these unique nutritionals to that formula. Guess what? You probably can do it naturally.
Yeah, you can. In fact, it's way more preferred than any other therapy or problem that I can think of any health issue that I can think of. Sleep is, in my mind, the number one thing that really truly needs something very natural to get your pathway set, and don't medicate. It's so important, but people don't understand, and Ambien is the worst, because if you look at any of our references for prescribing Ambien, it's only meant to be used for 2 weeks or so.
That's right.
It's not meant. There are people who have been on Ambien for years and getting people off of it. It's their mindset. They're not addicted per their body, but their mindset has that dependence, and it's just impossible to get people off of it. So doctors have been very inappropriate in prescribing it. Very.
Well, that's why we offer the free service. You can give us a call at 512-219-0724, and we can answer some questions that you may not be able to get from other typical pharmacies, some choices that you have in your healthcare. And that's what our tagline is, you have a choice in your healthcare.
Right.
And our website's chock full of tremendous amount of health resources that are free and podcasts. It's pdlabsrx.com, pdlabsrx.com, and you'll see reprints of our discussions with you and other health professionals, because we really truly want people to be educated about their health, because today you have to really take responsibility for your health.
Yes, you do have to be your own advocate, unfortunately, and I think Google MD is not the way that we want people to go any longer, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So yeah, we just that flew by quickly. To wrap things up, Ray, it is very important. I want people to be able to find you, so like you said, pdlabsrx.com, and a wealth of information there. And I just love it, Ray. I tell all my patients when I give out your number that, Ray is probably one of the most intelligent and well-educated pharmacists in the U.S. and world, as far as I know. But he still answers his own phone sometimes. He just picks it up. Hello.
Well, we're here to serve.
So I love that about you. You're very, very accessible.
Well, sometimes it's you never know who's on the other end of the phone that really sometimes needs a little helping hand. And we don't know a lot, but we're kind of a resource that we can connect people with the correct information and get unbiased, to the point. Opinions and backed by clinical research, because we try to make sure that everything we do is backed by research.
Yes, and not being sold on something. So it's
that's
very, very important. And so you can also find Ray if you hit my website at drpbetterlife.com, which you can also find all access to me and my clinic here in town, but also the other platforms that we are on for all podcasting and YouTube. I've got a blog, and I've got plenty of information from many different shows. We've had access to all that. So drpbetterlife.com and pdlabsrx.com. Ray, it's over. We did it again.
We did it again.
Thank you for being on, and I really, as always, appreciate you and wish you a good week.
You have a great week.
Thank you.
Take care.